Recognize the member for Simcoe-Grey.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Emergency Preparedness and Response. When emergencies, like the 2025 ice storm that impacted the residents of my riding and the Minister's, hit, it is important that our residents feel supported and safe. Residents, municipalities and local organizations are all stepping up, but we know that coordination, training and access to equipment are essential to an effective response. And that is why our government is building an emergency response network across our province to help communities respond to local emergencies and deploy critical resources at a moment's notice. Through you, Speaker, can the Minister tell us more about Ontario Corps and what investments have been made to strengthen training and equipment?
I recognize the Minister of Emergency Preparedness.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. Under Premier Ford's leadership, our government is building a culture of readiness, empowering volunteers and communities to quickly mobilize and deliver vital support like clearing roads, providing food and shelter, and helping our most vulnerable during emergencies. That is why our government has created Ontario Corps, a group of skilled partners and volunteers the province can deploy to help communities respond to natural disasters and other emergencies. To ensure these volunteers have the support they need, we are leveraging the expertise and equipment of our Ontario Corps partners that are ready to mobilize and deploy volunteers within 24 to 72 hours. We have invested $21.5 million in Ontario Corps partners over 3 years to purchase equipment and training to strengthen their readiness and response capabilities. Speaker, Ontario Corps is about neighbours helping neighbours, united by pride for our province, fueled by purpose, and proven through action, from north to south, east to west, and beyond. Madam Speaker, this truly is the Ontario spirit.
Hear, hear.
Member for Simcoe-Grey.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the Minister for that important update. It is very important to our residents to hear how Ontario Corps is supporting Ontario communities and delivering critical on-the-ground support. Speaker, during emergencies such as severe weather, people in my riding of Simcoe-Grey and across our great province want to know how they can help their communities and what our government is doing to help support volunteer efforts on the ground. They are asking how Ontario Corps works, who can join, and how volunteers are trained, coordinated, and deployed alongside partner organizations. Speaker, can the Minister explain how Ontario Corps is engaging volunteers in our communities across the province to make sure that they're mobilized in a time of need?
Back to the Minister of Emergency Preparedness.
Well, Madam Speaker, everyone in Ontario has a role to play in supporting the safety of communities, friends, and families we care about. That is why I encourage every Ontarian to register and become part of the Ontario Corps. Since the beginning of this flood season, over 19,000 volunteers have answered the call and registered to join Ontario Corps, stepping up to support their communities when help is needed most. We now have 13 NGOs and 4 private sector partners, including Labatt Canada, which can provide clean water to communities during emergencies, Global Medic, which has been deployed to support flood mitigation efforts, and Attach Niagara, which provides mental health support during emergencies. We will continue to expand this network, and I have an exciting announcement coming this afternoon, and stay tuned for more. Through this network, volunteers provide critical on-the-ground assistance, including emergency shelter and accommodation support, debris management, and emergency food services. Sign up to be part of the Ontario Corps. Everyone in Ontario needs to do their part to provide a safe, practiced, and prepared Ontario.
I recognize the member from Simcoe-Grey.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. My question to the Minister is about teaching clinics. In rural communities like my riding of Simcoe-Grey, I have 2 hospitals, and the local health teams are very closely connected to the hospitals. And in fact, in Simcoe, at Collingwood, we have the ROMP program, the Rural Ontario Medical Program, that is led by Dr. Wells, that deals with all the placements and training and mentoring for physicians coming out of med school, and we're moving to rural Ontario, which we so dearly need. And I'm wondering if the Minister could talk about the role of teaching clinics and how that's going to enhance recruitment and retention for physicians in rural Ontario, please.
Minister of Health.
Absolutely, great question. So the 17 teaching clinics that we have announced last week and will be in the budget on Thursday are really an acknowledgement that we know, as I said, as we expand medical seats, we also have to expand the component where we do the teaching clinics. And I think it's really important for people to understand, while the 17 teaching clinics are obviously attached to medical schools, They do not physically have to be in the same location. And this is the really exciting opportunity we have to make sure that those teaching clinics are in communities that perhaps have had historic challenges in terms of recruiting new physicians into their community. So there's more news to come, but I think it's a really important opportunity to more targeted ensure that communities that have historically had issues recruiting have an opportunity through these 17 new teaching clinics. Thank you.